ever FA Cup in our whole history in 1965. First ever European trophy as well, the UEFA Cup in 1973. I would say we would not be the huge, worldwide successful club we are today if it wasn't for Shankly. I'd say his influence is still very much felt all throughout the club to this day. There's a statue of him outside the museum, outside the Cop stand as well. Very, very important manager, guys. Shankly. Next manager along here, Bob Paisley, took over the job when Shankly retired. He'd been a player and a coach at Liverpool already for many years. He was in charge for 9 seasons, and he won 19 trophies in those 9 seasons. Absolutely phenomenal record. Makes him our most successful ever manager up until this point. He wins our first 3 European Cups as well, of which we've now won 6. Keep coming down this way, guys. The next manager was Joe Fagan. Again, he'd been a coach at Liverpool already for quite a long time. Only manager for 2 years, 1983 to 85, but he wins 3 trophies in his very first season. The League Cup, the league title, and our 4th European Cup. First time in the history of English football a team had won a treble. 3 trophies in 1 season. It's happened a few times since, we've done it since, but we were the first team ever to do that in England. Joe Fagan, the first ever manager. Kenny Dalglish, arguably the greatest player that has ever played for the club. He was a wonderful manager for us as well. He was manager in 1985 whilst he was still playing. Wins the FA Cup and the league title in his first season as manager. We beat our big local rivals Everton to both trophies. He's got a whole stand named after him outside. We'll see that in a few minutes. He's now Sir Kenny, but nicknamed the King to Liverpool fans. Without doubt, one of the greatest figures in the club's history. You then got Gerard Houllier, guys, first ever overseas manager. He was from France, arrived in 1998, wins 5 trophies in the calendar year of 2001, 20 years ago. Amazing year for us. Really took us forward into the 21st century. He was big on health and fitness and nutrition. The players having a really healthy lifestyle, and he made a lot of improvements to Melwood, the training ground at the time. Passed away quite recently, very sad, but definitely an amazing manager for us, Houllier. And at the end, guys, somewhat controversially now, we've got Rafa Benitez, obviously the new manager across the park at Everton, but did great things whilst he was here at Liverpool. Most famously wins the Champions League in his first season in 2005. One of the all-time great sporting comebacks, coming from 3-0 down at half-time against an amazing AC Milan team to score 3 goals in the second half and beat them on penalties. Incredible achievement, unbelievable night. We also won the FA Cup the following season as well. And around the corner is a photo of Jürgen. For me, definitely deserves to be spoken about now alongside all these names. It's been a great journey, 4 trophies so far, and I think there'll be more to come in the next few years. But I won't say too much about Jürgen because round the corner is a fantastic video on a big screen. This is going to get you nice and excited before we see the stadium, and it's introduced by Jürgen on the big screen, guys. So come down this way. You enjoy this. Use all the space on the couch.
I think this is where the TV runs.
A bit more room down this way, guys.
It's the garlic. You got garlic on the I don't like slowly. Can you feel it?
Tell you a bit about the stadium, guys. Keep taking photos whilst I'm talking. Get multiple photos here. I know the light isn't always the best. We do go pitch side later on down in the dugout, down in the Cops. You'll get a good view of the stadium from a few different levels. But we're in the main stand at the moment, the main stand. Biggest stand in Anfield, 3 tiers, 20,500 seats in the main stand. Stand on the left-hand side is the Anfield Road. It's where the away supporters sit in the lower tier. To the left-hand side of that black net, normally around 3,000 seats for the away supporters. We're also going to be extending the Anfield Road stand, adding about 7,000 new seats. That's hopefully going to be finished by around August 2023, so about 2 years. That'll take the overall capacity to around 61,000, or about 54,000 in the stadium at the moment. And the stand opposite, that's had a few different names now. For a long time it was the Kemlin Road for many, many years. Then 1992, for our 100th year as a club, it became the Centenary Stand, and then recently it's been renamed again now after Dalglish. Stand on the right-hand side where it says LFC, one of the most famous terraces in the world. That is the Kop, and we're actually going to be going down there a bit later on. You can take a seat on the Kop, get some good photos, so we'll tell you a bit more about the Kop later on, guys. What I'm going to do now, though, is I'm going to play the first video for you on these handsets. It's getting close together, so we're in Anfield now, about a 15-minute walk or so through Stanley Park, and you get to Goodison, home of our big local rivals, Everton, of course. We don't just show you this for no reason on a tour of Liverpool Stadium, though. It links in with the history of the ground, because this used to be Everton's stadium first. Before Liverpool FC ever existed, Everton played here for about 8 years, until the year 1892. Then they left and we were formed. And that happened because the ground was owned back then by a guy called John Holding. Very successful local businessman. There's a relatively new kind of statue or a bust of his head just outside the main stand that you can go and have a look at. Everton used to pay him rent to use the stadium back in these days, which I'll come back to in just a moment. But like I say, he was a successful local businessman. He had a brewery in the city centre, and he wanted to start selling his beer to the Everton crowd on a match day to make more money. They were doing very well at the time. They won the league here in 1891. But the rest of the Everton board members were against the sale of alcohol. They were formed originally from a church club, and then he wanted to significantly put the rent up that Everton were paying him, and they didn't want to pay more rent. They couldn't afford to do that, so they fell out. They had a few arguments over money. They decided in 1892 they were going to leave Anfield, build a new stadium, not work with John Holding anymore, who then had an empty football ground with no team to play in it. So he thought, I can form a new team, form my own team, name it after the city. He wasted no time, did it in the same year Everton left, so 1892, that is how Liverpool FC was born, and this has always been our home ever since, guys. We'll take you to the museum at the end of the tour, the very first thing in there as well, guys. The first one in the beautiful city of Rome in Italy in 1977, 3-1 against Borussia Mönchengladbach from Germany in the final. We did it again the following year, a bit closer to home, in the old Wembley in London in 1978, 1-0 against Bruges from Belgium in the final. Kenny Dalglish scored the goal, in my opinion, the greatest goal ever to win the European finals, and made the goal. 1981, another great city in Paris in France, 1-0 again against Real Madrid this time. Kennedy was holding the cup there, got the goal. 1984, it was back in Rome again, but AS Roma got to the final. We had to play them in their own backyard, very, very difficult. We managed to beat them in a penalty shootout. Our goalkeeper, Bruce Grobbelaar, very famous on that night in the shootout, as was Jerzy Dudek. 21 years later, in 2005 in Istanbul, the great comeback against AC Milan, and selfishly, my favourite one of the six, the most recent one in 2019. Best day of my life so far, very, very lucky to be in the stadium in Madrid, and we've been talking about Spurs 2-0. And our next match at home, guys, AC Milan on Wednesday, first game in the group stage, very excited, hopefully we can go far in the Champions League again this season. But what we have here then, guys, we have these trophies, and if you wanted to get a photo, we've got Tom to help us out with the photo. You've got the press conference room in here, folks. You can sit on the stage where you can sit and get a photo in the chairs. You can sit in the seats and see them when you head in, get a photograph.
It talks about how the match went.
You guys in the press room, go to the top. Get a photograph.
You can sit in the seat and get a picture. How are you stand with your brother? Are you right there? Well, yeah, we're going to sit with you. We'll sit with you. Sit next to him. You're going to see both footy return when you sit back. We don't want to say.
If you head inside, guys, have a little look around. See the opposition dressing room. We'll see a Liverpool one next. Have a look at the shirts in here. We'll tell you why we've got these shirts. And everyone's inside. You'll notice it's quite basic, quite plain in here, guys. There is the opposition dressing room, guys.
team. So when they first like all the other teams, like, they come in and get changed, right? And then they have to also change the room, and then
find all your favourite players' shirts, get loads of pictures.
the whole dressing room. Like your age. What's that one?
You can sit in any of these chairs. Yeah, get Clark is on the bottom row, on the far left. Bottom on the far left.
Stand there in a minute.
Hang on, mate.
Happy they are.
You do look at me. There you go. Dan, Katie, smile. Let me get back there. Doesn't want to smile.
I don't like it.
Stop. No. I can't even look up there.
Right, okay.
That's block is the far left one.
Yeah, this is just the home dugout, guys, for Jurgen Klopp, the substitutes, some of the coaching staff. The away team will be on the other side. Only real difference is we've got heated seats in the home dugout, and they don't have that in the away dugout. I think quite a few stadiums do that. So maybe Wednesday night, if it's chilly against Milan, our players will be nice and warm, nice and toasty. Yeah, so most of the middle tier, hospitality, of this lower tier as well. So where we were at the start, yeah, so that's we'll have more chairs,
David, come here a minute.
the TV studio where they talk about the match on the far left. The Kenny Dalglish stand,
Hey.
in the studio there. No, so we don't get free tickets or anything like that, but I've got a membership, I get a lot of tickets on that. And just stay on this side, mate, stay on this side. Yeah. But we have like a lot of tour guides, like 17 tours, so we have like a WhatsApp group and we get spare tickets sometimes from each other, but we don't like get into the group or anything, no, yeah. We do tours on match days, but it's really restricted with the areas that we go to. It's only about a 45-minute tour. don't see the dressing rooms or anything like that. You see some of the stuff we've seen, but it's only a short tour. We have to be out the stadium about 3 hours before kick-off. But since COVID, we've actually not been able to do them. So we haven't done them since March, 2020. Yeah. Well, I used to love the match day tours before COVID. They were good, even though you didn't get to see as much. A lot of people were coming to the match, so really excited and everything.
Who's your favourite player?
In the team now, I like Robertson, Andy Robertson. From my lifetime, Xabi Alonso was my favourite player when he was there. I really loved him. So very shortly, guys, we're going to lead you around to our museum. Loads of great things to see. Quick.
I can see myself drawing them white lines on.
That's something wrong. What's the glass made of?
Take a seat, guys, in the box. Just anywhere in the first 5 or 6 rows to the section here. Continue to the museum.
on turnstile. I'm still in that. And then the fellow who goes to the glass and the big grip on it. And it's so and it's sharp and the focus is no good. Maybe, yeah. The last and the top. Really goes for that. You used to afterwards. Exactly like this. And if you have thousands and then you go push. People don't need to follow these fucking players. It's too dark, not really just don't care.
3/4 of a million people lined the streets. In the middle, over the hills,
Đó, còn một cái đó. Over there.